Hello, I'm Daniel Caggiano.
And I'm Rich Lagrada.
Hello, and welcome to the first ever recording of the Eagle Eye Network. Tonight, we will have an exclusive interview with the CEO of R.R. Donnelley, the largest printing company in the world.
But first, we will throw it to Daniel Ursamano out in the field, who is with a local IS-51 school teacher discussing budget cuts and layoffs.
I'm in here in the field with Mr. Rich Lagrada, a prestigious teacher at IS-51 Middle School, and we're about to discuss recent budget cuts and layoffs. Currently, there are many cuts being made in schools across the country, and here at Eagle Eye Network, we are wanting to know how the teachers are going to be affected.
Definitely, here on Staten Island, teachers will be immediately affected. Number one is if teachers are tenured, they don't have to worry. Tenured is if they're on their job for 3 years, then they're still going to have a job. But any teacher who is less than 3 years, they're going to be excess, which means that they're out of a job and there's no work for them.
Now, in regard to the students, how do you think these cuts are going to affect them?
Well, because of the teachers that are going to be laid off, each school is going to have less teachers. So number one is there'll be more students in the classes. So the one-on-one working with teachers to students is going to be obviously impaired a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit tougher on the teachers, and the students will be affected.
And lastly, what changes do you think will occur in schools with their day-to-day operations as a result of these cuts?
Well, as of now, the principals are in charge of their schools. They run their schools from day to day. If they have less money and less teachers to work with in the schools, there's going to be cutting back of programs. Could be after-school programs get affected. You may have some tutoring programs also. Certain programs such as special education, where kids really need that extra help. And also the specialty programs, the exceptionally gifted kids, they'll get affected because there won't be enough money to go around to help them.
Well, and there you have it, a first-hand account from a dedicated teacher at IS-51. And we here at Eagle Eye Network would like to thank you for all your time. And now I'm going to send it back to Rich and Dan in the studio.
Thank you, Daniel. So, Rich, what are your takes on the issue of the budget cuts and layoffs in our schools today?
Well, Dan, I believe this is an unfortunate situation caused by a slumping economy.
I agree. And the worst part is that the people most affected by this is our children.
My thoughts exactly, Dan. Now on a lesser note, when earlier today we were able to have a sit-down with actor Will Ferrell in our studio.
Hello, Mr. Farrell. Thank you for meeting with us. Can I ask you a few questions?
Really? Well, all right.
So, as we all know, these budget cuts in schools today are really hurting the children. And we here would like to know if you ever had a troubled childhood.
Childhood? Troubled childhood? Yeah. If you call being a 9-year-old kid with a 35-year-old girlfriend troubled.
Definitely consider that a rough upbringing. Well, with that kind of upbringing, what kind of man do you consider yourself to be today?
A man who discovered the wheel and built the Eiffel Tower out of metal.
Well, that's awfully impressive, Mr. Farrell. And I don't want to take up any of more of your time, so I have one last question for you. What are your thoughts, if any, on ex-President George W. Bush?
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
Thanks, Mr. Farrell, for that interesting set of remarks.
Yes, it's always great to hear such insightful advice from such a well-known figure. Don't you agree, Rich?
Why, yes. And now let's turn our attention to our exclusive story. Recently, we met up with the CEO of R.R. Donnelley, the biggest printing company in the world.
Hello, I am here with Mr. Thomas Quinlan over the phone, the present CEO of R.R. Donnelley. And our first question for you, sir, is how does the present economy affect the day-to-day operations of your business?
Well, we are directly impacted by the economic cycle, no matter what part of the economic cycle we are in. 40 to 45% of our revenue is derived from marketing and branding. Another 40 to 45% of our revenue comes from our customers' core products. This includes books, magazines, catalogs, office products, directories, forms, and labels. If we're in the downward side of the economic cycle, we will not have as much revenue growth as we would if the economy was trending upward. For example, companies do not market themselves or look to improve their branding when times are difficult. On the flip side, companies tend to advertise more. In all forms, when the economy is going well, same applies to customers' core products. When times are difficult, customers tend to spend less. This negatively impacts all of our customers' core products. When consumers have funds and feel good about the economy, consumers tend to purchase more. As a result, you staff your operation accordingly. If you have more employees, usually when the cycle is strong and less when the economy is weak. You need to have more manufacturing materials when the economy is strong and less when it is weak. You need to have liquidity to help you with working capital needs no matter what part of the cycle you are in.
How does the problems with the economy affect the traditional consumer?
Well, the traditional consumer is not spending money in a period of uncertainty. We are in now, the consumer will do what they have. Try to make things last longer. Use, refuse, and avoid unnecessary purchases. When one is unsure of whether or not they will have unemployment in the future, they tend to change their buying pattern. Luxury types of items are no longer on the buying list of the consumer. The staples of what are desired and purchased, food, clothing, shelter, extravagant vacations, are put off or canceled. The consumer tends to become more simpler with their needs and desires. This change in buying impacts all industry verticals.
Do you see an end coming to this succession?
It will end because it is a cycle. The better question is when. We still have not experienced the consumer credit card crisis, the insurance crisis, or significant social unrest. Once we experience these things, then you could see things start to change to the positive in a year or so later. If I knew the timing of it, my life would be a heck of a lot easier. Ha.
What would you recommend to the average high school student in regards to financial futures?
Education is the key that will allow you the opportunity to achieve financial independence. This includes academic experience plus real-life experiences. Have passion for learning and putting those learnings into action. All of this will give one a foundation to again try to achieve financial independence. Your particular class is positioned well. In 5 years or so, the economic cycle should be turning upward or better, and there should be a need for skilled employees and laborers. Old saying, understand the value of a dollar and treat the dollar accordingly. Downside, inflation will pick up. Does not mean one acts like a Scrooge. Instead, one takes care of such a commodity, cultivate it, and will grow it. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions or comments further.
Thank you very much for that insightful report. Back to you both, you guys at the studio.
One.
Thanks, Mr. Quillen, for those insightful remarks. Spoken like a true business figurehead. So, Dan, any thoughts?
Well, Rich, all I could say is that I really hope Mr. Quinlan's prediction is correct, that when he said that the economic slump will end. And your thoughts, Rich?
I do agree with you about hoping this will end. Also, I would like to add that I believe it is an unfortunate situation that this economic drought has put us in. And my best wishes go out to Mr. Quillen and his company, that they survive these rough times.
Mine too. Well, that will wrap things up today. Until next time, I'm Dan and Rich and the entire Eagle Eye crew signing off.